Hi Steven, hi Tommy. Thanks for like being the guest, Steven, for like this episode. I remember that we met when you came right with your co-founder and like brother here. You visited us at the 34 Montgomery. It was yeah, one of like your first trips in Silicon Valley, and then like many things like changed. You also got an investment right from like Andreessen Horowitz, and so you rented like an house here and you like your brother and then the rest of the team also stayed here for a few months for also the accelerator. So if you like maybe want to start a little bit introducing yourself, what are you building, and that was your experience from like flying from Europe and staying a few months in San Francisco with like the accelerator of Andreessen Horowitz.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you, Eric and Tommy. Great to see you again. Yeah, so basically, like my first time in Silicon Valley was yeah in April of last year. It was pretty funny because basically I came here in SF because like nobody in Italy was interested in us, like both as investor and everything. And I have to admit, honestly, like we didn't have that much money in the bank account, so it was like a kind of okay, let's do this because it's the only thing that makes sense for us. So we just basically took a flight. I actually booked the flight like the week before, like we knock also scheduled, and then I just went aggressive on LinkedIn and just messaged everyone literally. And like one of my founder friend, I asked him like, who should I met in a surf? And like, oh, you should met Tommy, you should met these guys from Comedy. And so, like, probably Tommaso, it was funny because he got like four different intros to us, probably. It's
And then like, I think it happened the same to your brother, right? Because then like
yes,
your brother was introduced to me, and so I invited him at the 34 Montgomery, and then you arrived at the same time. So you were like supposed to meet Tommaso, I was like supposed to meet your brother, and then like you were there at the same time. Oh, what's happening?
yeah, exactly. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, so that's I think the way we met, and like definitely that experience in itself was pretty important for us because apart from like meeting a lot of people in the space, it definitely got like for the first time I was kind of like understood. Like before San Francisco, like in Italy, kind of always felt as a fish out of the water, like doing a social network in Italy is kind of I don't know, doing something in fashion in the United States. Like it's not a place to do it. So like the time I flew in a SF was kind of like, oh, this is the place for us. And actually, like during that trip, I was able to get my two first angel investors to US, but also two really great people. Like one that worked at Facebook, and another guy that like raised the 4 million from Sequoia. They're very good founder and operator. And actually, like a funny thing, like I still raised like this money with an Italian company, so it was just like a safe translated to English. Because like I know a lot of Italian founders that always say, "Oh, I need to flip first. I need to flip first." So why we just said, "Okay, we have these people who are excited about us. Let's do it." And yeah, with this money, kind of like we went double down and continue trying to grow Waveful. And yeah, so what we're doing with Wayful is basically a community platform for adult people. Like if you look at the space, there isn't really anything like this. Like the biggest social in the community space are Reddit, which is kind of like old and boring. Like everyone is a sophisticated user. Like if you comment an emoji on Reddit, you're unvoted or you're blocked. Like it's very adversive. It's not like for your average 40-year-old guy. And while the kind of other big player in the space is Facebook groups, but it's kind of like a dying product. Like multiple people that I talked with at Facebook confirmed me that basically Facebook is not dedicating any more resources on growing groups. So we kind of like went all in and built Waveful, which you can kind of imagine, yeah, as like Ready 2.0. So like a community space where it's really easy to share your passion, meet people with your similar interest, become a creator very easily, and always with like a B2C core in mind. Like we don't want to do ads or anything else. We sell directly to the user because it's where we think the value is. Yeah, basically like when we were in SF for the first time, I think I was around like 20,000 monthly user. So yeah, last year. Now we are at nearly 2 million. So we definitely did a big growth from there. And yeah, I think like from this summer we kind of like figured out both the product and the distribution. Yeah, particularly in consumer B2C mobile. It's always a thing of like it doesn't work until it works, because you need to do a lot of hypotheses, a lot of testing. Like maybe guys, if you want later, we can also go deep in the details. Also share some growth hacks, which I think can be helpful. But yeah, definitely like we started basically over 3 years ago, but things started working like less than 1 year, and the thing that like kept us pushing was just trying over and again, because you believe something is gonna work, and we just believed it, and it started to work. So like in a few months, we figured out product, we figured out distribution, all organic. Like we have created basically an ambassador strategy, which nobody's kind of doing. Also because again, we have a specific target of like people between 30 to 50. So we're kind of like using all of the channels that nobody's using. Like everybody's going on TikTok, we're growing using Facebook groups. Like who does that? And but because of like the thing I think which is very cool for us, it is like if you're a founder like born in the US, you probably go to college. And if you go to college, you're exposed to a lot of young people. So then probably you're gonna build a product for like young people or like smart college people. While for us, since we born in Italy and grown in Italy, we kind of like it's easier for us to think a product for adult people, and we kind of like going against the river. Like everybody's is building something for young people, let's do something for adult people, because we think it's where the opportunity are going to be. So it's definitely like a pretty unique advantage for us, because it means like we have a unique product and also a unique distribution layer. Like the stuff we're doing on growth is not something anybody's doing currently, because they're very particular. And basically, with the strategy, we've been growing like from this summer, we've grown to like around 60,000 monthly active user. And then with Armentics, we got an intro to Speedrun, the accelerator from Andreessen Horowitz. Actually, also that was a pretty funny story. How I entered into Speedrun, because it was thanks again to Silicon Valley, to SF, because since like the first trip went very well, because basically I got two angel investors, I said, okay, I should come back again in SF. So I did that again, and I came back again in this October and this November. And basically what happened is like on a Saturday, I was in SF, like looking for people to contact founders to get a coffee with. And I stumbled upon this VC. Is called Yules. It's like a principal from Pareto. Pareto is like the biggest angel investors in the world. Like he did a post on LinkedIn, like on a random Saturday, just saying, I'm in a surfer. If you want to meet, I invest in like young people up to 200K. Send me an email. So I sent him an email on a Saturday, and he actually answered, and we got a coffee like on Sunday. And it was really funny because he told me like he got over 1,000 emails, but just met like 10 people. And basically this guy Jules, he mentioned me randomly, like why telling him his story, like he possibly as an intro to Speedrun. But I didn't care about that at the time that much. But then like the week after, I got like a dinner with Andrea, also with your friend,
Yeah.
And
We also did a podcast with Andrea Mack. Like,
yeah, it's very good. And basically, he told me that also he had a last call with Speedrun, and he was in the last final round because the application were closing. So I just messaged the Yules, the VC guy, randomly, like on a Friday night, and said, "Oh, yo, Yules, can you get me an intro to Speedrun?" And he answered like in 2 minutes on a Friday night, and he forwarded me that email. And then, like on that week, I got back on a flight to Italy. And like while I was in the flight, Robin, the partner at Andreessen, actually answered me. And that's the way I got to the first meeting with Andreessen, and then we entered, we got accepted, and like things started working insanely fast from there. Like we flipped it from an Italian company to a Delaware company, and this is the best decision I think we ever made. Honestly, it's like a totally different approach to raising and building your company. And with that money, we kind of like went fully double down on Wayful. Like first, only me and my brother, my co-founder, we were in two full time. We went rapidly in all of 18 our team full time. We also added an engineer that was missing, and then we brought everyone in the team to SF. It was mandatory because since like the 3 times I came in SF, every time I got something magical out of that. I said, like, you guys, you should come too. So I bought like a big Airbnb for 3 months for Speedrun of this year. And we were everyone like heads down building every night, up till night, building Waveful, shipping, doing stuff, talking to users, the usual things. And it worked. It worked very well. Like while it was while we were in SF, we went viral in Italy, and we got the first place in App Store and Play Store in Italy for like 1 week in a row. It was pretty funny. Like at first we surpassed Facebook, then we surpassed TikTok, then we were first. So it was pretty good. And also we started when going viral in a lot of different countries. So basically the growth was explosive. Like we went from 200,000 monthly active users to 1.2 million in like 1 week. It was pretty crazy. My brother was like not sleeping because the servers were kind of
burning.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and that's the kind of like what happened in the last year. And now we're back in Italy, building an office here in Milan. I'm doing this in Milan because I really think Italy is full of great people, great talent. The problem is like it's very rare for us to have the resources to do what we want, particularly in B2C. Like if you ever raise it here in Italy for a B2C product, it's basically impossible. Only a few ever do this. And so like I was pretty lucky to get the capital we needed from the US. But at the same time, like, probably like when you scale, you need to people that have the experience. But like before you are at scale, so like let's say like less than 30 people, you just need to find like the best talentful and hardworking people possible. And I think Italy it's a place full of these people. That's why up to like 30 people, we want to like have a really cool office in Milan, everyone in presence. We really care about that because again, like the experience in itself kind of like told us that we need to stay in present to build like a long-lasting company than print money. we are one of the few startups that actually make money from the start. Because it's the usual Silicon Valley playbook. You raise a big round for a social, you get to 10 million users without monetizing, and then you explode. We did a different path. We are like monetizing a lot. I think that's also one of the reasons like Tommaso invested. He saw the money.
Very probably.
Yeah, not just blah blah blah, but also some.
Yeah, many also like angel investors, right? When you were here with Andreessen Horowitz, also like other angels are from Silicon Valley like got in, and so it's very cool that you have also like expertise from like Silicon Valley, while you're also like building from Europe. But maybe like going a little bit back on time, like you've been like playing with your brother, like with computers or like games since you were like very young. Like what was like your inspiration for actually starting Wayful?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for the question. So like our story like goes back very a lot. Like we started coding when I was 9 years old, making like I don't know if you ever guys played Minecraft. I don't know if I asked you, but basically, yeah, Minecraft is a big game, and we were creating mods for Minecraft for mobile. So for the mobile version of Minecraft. But we were actually very successful. Like we had over $50 million when I was 11 years old, while my brother was 17. So we were very young. Like a funny story, we were making so much money that we had to create a PayPal account with a mother's name because we were too young to open a bank account. And I think like that experience got our passion into the mobile consumer market. Like the thing is like in mobile consumer, it's really easy to create. It's not easy, but like it's very satisfying to create a product that millions of people can use every day. Like particularly in the entertainment space. Like I really love the entertainment space because it's kind of like one of the only space where like when you create a product, you can impact so many people and also kind of change their life because it's the way they spend their free time, it's the way they enjoy life. Like for example, if you make a social network, you're basically changing people daily life for multiple hours every day. So that's always have been our drive, like make something really impactful, but not just like on a money level, but impactful like how much our product are changing people's lives on a percentage, I would say. And that's why we always went for this type of like B2C product, like mass product, and like entertainment space, like games, like social networks. And yeah, like when I was 16, I was still in high school. My brother was finishing university. We kind of like played around with the idea of a social media network, particularly like with this really push on monetization, because it was something that was missing. So we started iterating. Again, like for the first 3 years, it was kind of like a bloodbath. It was really hard because the users were not sticking. Yes, maybe they paid, but not that much. It was difficult to raise money, but we just kept pushing. Also, honestly, since we had our experience like in games and Minecraft mods, we kind of like made our money. So we didn't have like, the pressure to start selling. We had this kind of like grit to keep doing it. And I think that's one of the main things people miss when building in consumer is that like they surrender very early. One, if you're working on something that works on B2C, you expect for the first years to do basically nothing, and then all of a sudden you print money and you grow explosively. And so I think like obviously like it's difficult to be in that situation because it also means you should have enough money, or like you should raise enough money to like take care of yourself for the time you need to want to discover. And also it's very like difficult like on a mental level because basically you're maybe passing years without like any number changing, but you should just like keep going. And also, you should come to the Silicon Valley, like, and meet Tommaso and Erick, probably.
What do you think like were the most like I don't know differences that you noticed like from building a company in Europe or like building a company in Silicon Valley? I mean, you already like mentioned something about like the speed that you send an email on Friday night, the people respond like immediately. You get the intros here and there.
Yeah, I think this is basically the core difference. It's like to say brutally, but like in United States, nobody's fucking around. Like, because like in Italy, it's really easy like for people to just like also investor to ghost you, to answer you like, oh, it's the weekend. Let me wait until the next week because there is also the vacation stuff like this. Which okay, like it's good, but like there is not that velocity and like urgency. Like in by coming in and stuff, you really feel that urgency. Every person you met has this kind of like urgency to succeed, like to make it. While in Europe, it's much more okay. Things are happening, but like not that fast. And this is the main difference. The second difference, like particularly for us, is that in the consumer social world, like nobody has this type of knowledge. Like the only people that have knowledge in this space are like in France. I think these are the kind of like two core difference, which is like one in the US, like everybody's serious about doing this type of stuff. Everybody's in tech, so you meet a lot of cool people that help you very quickly compared to like in Europe. And second thing, in Europe, only in France, some people have some knowledge about the consumer social space, like while everybody else does not know nothing. And so it's easier, particularly for a case, to meet people with a similar knowledge. Like I remember very fondly, like the first Italian investors that backed us, like they were just, look, like we like you, you are making money, but you're making a social, so you're probably not gonna make it, but we will still invest, because if you're gonna make it, then we are gonna be so rich together. So it was a kind of like more, okay, let's do this crazy thing, because like nobody has ever been created a social media with our numbers starting from Italy, and also generally in Europe it's very difficult. Generally in the world it's very difficult, but particularly in Europe, because there is not a network and knowledge that you need to build this type of products.
Yeah. Also, if people fuck around in Silicon Valley, the system is very well built to send them out very, very fast, right? Very, very efficient on that.
Yeah, I agree, because like the ex post you made, like it's a natural filter for the great people, because like also hearing people maybe like hearing our story, like sometimes I get asked like, oh, can I get some intro to SF, like, oh, you've been able to do that, but like I think most people do not understand, like to take the most out of SF, you just need to be like very aggressive and very scrappy, like really, or you make it or no. While some people, take it more relaxed, like, I don't know, oh, let me go to SF, let me do some visit to Google and that's it, or like I should understand the space, while like all of the great stories I've heard from people going here, they were successful when they really went aggressive, like, okay, send 100 messages per day on LinkedIn, on X. Okay, get as many intros as possible. Okay, have with a clear objective. Like I hear a lot of people just coming to SF to like feel the vibe, but by feeling you with the vibe, you just do not do anything. Well, I think the magic of SF, like it works when you have something to feel proud, and also you have like an objective for coming in the city. And because like if you have a mission you feel proud about, then people can like respect you because they know you are something cool, you're someone cool. And if you have an objective, people know all you can help, all they can help.
Yeah.
That's the best way to get something out of SF. Otherwise, like you're just coming here like as a tourist. But if you come here once, like you're building something really cool, so you can talk about with people, and you also have an objective, so people can help you. Then it's much more powerful, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when I came here the first time in 2019, I was kind of like a tourist because I came here like completely randomly that time. But I realized that the people were to a completely different level, and so the realization after a week was, okay, I have to go back home and really do something great and something relevant. Otherwise, yeah, it's a very, you set a different bar, you set a different benchmark, and you realize how much work and how much better you need to become to really get something out of here, or to really get the most out of here. But very interesting. I wanted to ask you something, Steven. So there are so many social networks that you see around, like being launched, maybe going viral for a few days. What do you think are the main differences between these, very fast to launch but also fast to fail social network and Wayful? Because Wayful has a completely different story. It started, correct me if I'm wrong, but for what I understand, it started like slowly, and then gradually it became better and better and better until the growth, became like very considerable, compounding, and every day better, every day bigger. So what do you are um, the pieces of wisdom about building a social network, and what did you do differently, and why it ended up being so different compared to a lot of other examples?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a very like core question for the space. Like, I will start with like a sponsorship, and I will say like, so like Andreessen is proud of me, but like you should read this book, The Constant Problem by Andrew Chen, who's a partner. So I will start with a sponsorship of Andreessen.
Andrew,
Like they explain very well all the network effects, like what's happening. And the core difference is like all of these apps are like die very quickly. The way they build their network is not like long lasting, because usually what they do is like they ask for contacts, and then you do something with your friends with the contacts you already know. But then like at some point you just get bored and you leave the app. And also it's very easy clonable by someone else, because they can again like just ask for your contacts again on another app, do another like cool game, cool social stuff, and it's basically out of the game. That's also one of the reasons why like Be Real, like they were very good at distribution. Like, I mean, they had Andrea, like they were very good at distribution. The product was very good, but at the same time, the type of network they had, it was not long lasting, because basically on Be Real, you import your contacts, you do this like one thing with your friends, you keep doing that, but sometimes point if you just are bored, there is no like long lasting network. While Wayful, the core difference is like we don't explicitly ask for your contacts. You come Wayful, you just tell us your interest, and we will connect you with the best communities we can think about for you, basically. And in this way, then it creates a lasting network, because like when you get followers to Wayful, when you grow Wayful, it's a unique network that you don't have anywhere else. And that's the very core defensibility of social media. It's like having a network that nobody else has. But like this is defensibility like on a monetization level, because like one, if you have a really unique network, if you want to do like ads or anything else, then you have access for like business for something really unique. But also if you want to monetize on a B2C level, then you're selling something unique to these people. And otherwise, like it will be just a game you play with the friends you already know. Like if you want to build something that like it's long lasting, you should always think to like, our network can be unique. Like the way people interact in your social, the way they do what they do should be different to compare to other social media. And if you think about it, this is very true. Even like if the features are the same, like if you think about Threads and X, they have the same feature, but the type of experience you have are completely different, because the people are different. Like on X, they are much more autistic, I would say. To like Threads are more normal people, but even if the features are basically the same, the experience is basically is a total different one. You can think also about like TikTok compared to Instagram Reels. Like the feature is the same, but the way the network are built are different, so that the product is actually different. Like I know some people, personally myself, that, for example, both use Instagram Reels and TikTok, but in different ways, even if the features are the same. Because like obviously, like if you're a social network, then everything is created by the user. Then basically the experience is like 80% network and 20% features. The features are not that important compared to the way you structure your network. And also, I think like connected to your original question, Tommaso, I think in this way it's connected to one of my biggest learning, which is like focus aggressively on distribution much earlier. Like I think I focused on distribution too much late, and then it was not like the network I wanted to create started happening later. While like I think so many people like pass a lot of time like just shipping features, but now that like building is very cheaply, distribution start thing, you start think like you should start building with distribution in mind. In this way, you can also think about a product that like distribute itself. And this is particularly true for consumer. Like I've talked with a lot of founders, like the best one, like the one that like exited the company, the one that like made a shit ton of money. They all said like they always talked about the product in like how can then the experience itself make the product more talkable, make the product more growing organic by itself. And usually they even start to think about that even before building the product. like the first feature is like they do not ship the first feature if the first feature itself is not like easily to share about. And there are multiple examples in the consumer app space about this, because obviously, like if you're in B2C, you need to stand out, you need to win aggressively, and obviously, like you should find a way to make it distribute by itself.
So, what would you say are the most important growth features you built within Wayful?
So one thing like that worked very well for us was like asking in our case, like since it's a creator network, like people come on Wayful usually also have like a big social. What we started doing was like asking social links, and we scrape the amount of followers we have, and we message the one that have the most followers to propose for them to like basically create organic content for us. And I think now that we do this, we have basically a network of a lot of people that are willing to create a lot of organic content for us. But before, maybe some people tried out the product organically, but we didn't spot them enough quickly to kind of like transform them into power user for us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like what a lot of people missing in the B2C space is like they always find a way to grow by looking outside and not looking in the community itself. Like a lot of people, they just think, oh, all can grow on TikTok, all can grow Reddit, all can grow on X, all can do ads, or whatever that is, while they maybe just need like 1,000 users that it's very easy to get. And then if you basically like if you know each one of your user, then something is gonna happen to make them grow. Because if you know your user very well, you can think better features that let them invite more. You can think more like what's the adjacent network you can take. Like a lot of founders, I think, make the mistake of like looking outside when like most of the value is like inside. Because like if you have even if you have like just 20, 50 users, like that's enough to start doing stuff, you know. And I think ourselves we made that error. Like we started looking at our community more when we were at around like 100,000 users. But like that's a very big amount. Like probably if I started doing that like at 1,000 users, we will have discovered more power stuff much more earlier instead of like shipping randomly, you know.
Yeah, I mean another kind of like important component that you're kind of like facing right now. You had like crazy growth in terms of like users, revenue, and everything, but also like in terms of like the team, right? I mean, we met so many of like your teammates here in San Francisco. Now you're building the office in Milan. What are like maybe your recommendations for like someone who is like kind of like interested in like getting more and more involved into startups? What are you like looking for when hiring someone?
Yeah, for sure. Like obviously, I think this is like one first, like it's a style question. Like I think every different founder, like leader, if we can say so, has a different style, and we look
And you
for like
create also different culture, right? With
yeah, exactly. We look for different people, but like speaking with about myself, like since we've come from like a very scrappy background, like I'm not myself graduated. We really like people that for some reason have shown the capacity to like make it whatever it takes and like to win and just winning. Like a lot of the people that like we added recently, even if they're not graduated, but they have like an history of like making it. Like they have the grit to succeed, and also the unique skills we need. Like for example, one of our latest marketing hire was this guy that like he started making money at 14 years old, selling like Fortnite credits by messaging people on Instagram DM. Like when he was 14, he was basically doing an A/B test by sending messages in masses with multiple accounts on Instagram while he was 14. Like he was doing marketing before even like he didn't know what ad. And now like he's 20, he's still very young, but like he's like a piece at marketing and just like at this very grit of like succeeding and it's everything he likes in life. And now he leads on like our influencer partnership motion at Waveful because he's very good at this. Or like one other hire is this guy that like he sold to companies to pay off his mom debt, and he's very good at like operation and finance wise. And so like we added him like for all of the like as a chief of staff role, kind of like to manage finance and in operations and adding. But like he's another example of like of a guy that even like he's got like no degree on anything, but like he just like learned everything he needed in his part by himself, and he just like lives for this, like lives for winning. And it's something like I think that it's kind of like easy to check when you hire, because it's kind of like it's something like you naturally see like this energy, because if they do this, like even if they're free time, if they do this in whatever like space they have, if they only talk about this, then they live for this stuff. And I think this is particularly important like in the early stage of your company, because like if you're very lean, if you're just like under 20 people, you need the best people possible, but also they're willing to work a lot and very hard for what you do, because it's kind of like they need to be the best people for your company. Like you're not a corporate where you're hiring like your 1,001 person. You're hiring maybe like your fifth or sixth person. So you should find someone that like really cares about what you're doing, but also like on his job.
Yeah. And then also you're flying those people to Silicon Valley, right? Like maybe 1 or like 2 weeks,
Yes,
so they
like
can.
if they never been to NSF, like 2 weeks are mandatory with me.
with the Wayful offer. But and how does a day at Wayful look like? Like if I wake up in the morning, I open the door of the Wayful office and I stay there for like 8 hours. What do I see? Or what can I expect to see?
Okay, should I also say the autist stuff, or
Yeah,
only
yeah. Please do.
Including the pasta dinners. They're like very good.
So I think one, there is a lot of energy. Like you always you enter and someone like in my case pings me like, "Oh, Steven, status update on this," or like it's very like you feel the momentum when you enter the room. Like people want to show you off what they've been working on. They want to brainstorm with you like about this stuff that is happening, and also you see like. I think like I would say it's the same the way I was saying before, like zero fuck around. Kind of like everybody is smashing their keyboard, like it seems extreme, but like it means like people really love what they're doing, and also they love you know, energy is infection. Like momentum brings more momentum. So like if you keep winning, then you want to work more because you want to get more results. And like if the numbers start showing up, then it's also easier to work hard because you want to make the stuff happening. Also, like I see this like when we are at lunch or like at dinner, we're just like talking about Wayful. We're not talking about us. Like the brainstorm continues also during lunch or doing breakfast or doing dinner or doing whatever. And because it means like we have a lot of stuff in our head that we want to talk about and share with others. So it's that's also one of the reasons I really like in presence, because there are some moments which are brainstorming but are not like scheduled, because obviously like if you schedule maybe a brainstorming, then it's kind of it's not that useful. But like if the ideas come and go, but like if you do that like on a casual level, like during a lunch, I think it's useful, because at the same time, like if you have your laptop on your right, you can still note down what you're talking about, and then like update whoever you need to update. So definitely, like to answer your question, Tommy, there is a lot of energy, a lot of momentum, a lot of like keyboard smashing, also a lot of monitors. We work we like to work on big monitors, and yeah, and also like one thing that like I started noticing, probably this is my due to my own setting of the culture, but like I see a lot of like mixed panel open. You know, mixed panel is the dashboard for like tracking numbers and data. like everybody knows how to use Mixpanel and check data by itself. So you see that very often, but I very like that. I'm very proud of that, because like it means people are able to like check the result by themselves. Like if they make an hypothesis, can they do that by themselves? Obviously, like maybe some people are more skilled than others, like in doing growth stuff or like product analytics. But one thing which is like very important is like letting your team like check the number by themselves, do some like tests by themselves, make some hypotheses, check some stuff, because it gives them a lot of like ownership and impact. Because maybe they ship something and they see the impact they on the stuff that they worked on. You know, maybe something on growth and you see the acquisition number popping up, or maybe something on product and you see the retention number increasing. And also maybe you make some hypotheses, and instead of like writing a question, you can just go to Mixpanel and check by yourself the numbers. And also like I think it's very important for us, because you know the social network game is a very big number game. Like Facebook basically grew to billions of users just because they were good at math, you know. And this is the same for TikTok or like the very big social. So definitely, I think it's particularly important for us because we're kind of like playing a numbers game, really. Like, because particularly in social media, like usually from 0 to 1, it's difficult. Like there is a lot of experiment, but like from 1 to 100, it's just like a number game. It's just like fixing the numbers to make everything scale.
Yeah, and also like maybe regarding the monetization, it was something that for you worked. I mean, kind of like since the beginning. Maybe it was like a mix because you wanted to build something that was like sustainable, and also like another component could be that in Italy that there are not so many like VC funds, so it's not that from the day one you raise like millions of dollars. But maybe how like did you approach like this challenge, like because there are many different ways, right? If you, especially if you're building a social network, you can like start doing like advertisement. That is something that you deliberately decided not to do. Like maybe you can do like super likes. That I think is what you're gonna explain a little bit more. So what was like your strategy about this?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think one, it was also a personality thing. Like I always hated like doing sales. So like even when we started doing Wayful, we just like told, oh, we are gonna sell something on B2C because there's some like we don't want to talk with, I don't know, vendors and with other people. We just want to talk with our users and that's it. So I think like as a personality of ourselves, like we really like doing the B2C model, I would say. So we add that setting even before I would say. First thing. Second thing, like in every product we have built, me and my brother, we always released monetization in the first version, always. Because like a lot of the time when you release product in B2C, sometimes they just go viral and you don't know why. Or maybe you launch a killer feature, but you don't know you didn't expect that. And so if you go viral with these pics and you don't have monetization implemented, it's just like money you're gonna miss. So I think it's connected again, Eric, with what you say. Like if you grow in Italy where there are many investors, you don't have that much cash in bank, then you don't have like the privilege of saying, oh, I can add monetization on a step 2. I should launch it as early as possible. In this way, if we get viral, we're able to extract as much money as possible so we can keep working on this, you know. And second thing, I think this is also like a strategical level. Most of the time, you fail on monetization because you add it on top instead of deeply engaging it with the network and the product. Like since we have released a super like, which is like our monetization feature as early as possible, then our users have been growing with these super likes from the start. And so the way also they engage, the way that the content is created is shaped for these super likes. And like otherwise, if we added the super like later, then their behavior will be different because it will not be as like connected to the engagement loop as it is today. And if you want to have like a very good monetization, you should think of a way like it's not on top, it should be deeply connected with like what your product offers. And that's also one of the reasons like why big social fail on B2C, like Reddit. They tried multiple times to monetize like by selling stuff to users, but they failed because again, like Reddit was always been structured as a free network for free people, and so nobody liked buying stuff. And so the only way for them to make money is like by selling us to businesses. And but that's a different game. Well, if you start with monetization, then like you shape your feature together with monetization. And also like some time on that side, I see a lot of founders that are just like, I don't know why, but they're scared to make money. Maybe it's some like a Silicon Valley myth or something, but like
there is like the Silicon Valley
That's-
HBO series, right? That is like way
Yeah.
better to be like zero money than just like having a little bit.
Yeah, maybe from that, like maybe it's the fault of like I don't watch television or series, or like and for example, I never saw the social network.
The social network.
I never saw that. I'm gonna watch that after Exit or IPO.
Okay.
So
I think you are the only consumer founder that didn't get inspired by watching the movie.
I think this is better because otherwise I will not monetize.
What was like your inspiration then? Like maybe did you have I don't know, other entrepreneurs, like other founders that you got inspired to kind of like start like this entrepreneurial journey, or especially in B2C, or maybe some books?
I think like one, like my experience was always like in the entertainment games. So like even like back growing up, that's always what I liked. But like for social networks, like what always excited me was the stuff that like you are creating a new like social capital, like you're creating a new definition of what's valuable. Like people on Instagram, they get a lot of money, they grow a lot, like they care about these followers. But like if you think about it, followers are like nothing, like they're just a number on a screen. So I always like social media because like it's kind of like you're building something really powerful on a psychological level out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere, you're creating like a community structure where people can feel special, they can feel important, they can feel good out of nowhere. And because like I always liked that component in games, because like in gaming, you're offering a way for people to feel good. If you play a game, you feel good, you feel excited. But at some point, that experience is gonna fade because you get bored of the game. While with social, you never got bored in social because there is always gonna be something new, and also some more status, some more like feeling you gave. So I think like it was kind of like a natural extension of us. Like we always loved gaming because you make people feel good as product. Like it's kind of like the only business model like where you make money, where you make people feel good, basically. Like on a dopamine level, like they feel good in completing stuff, they feel good in doing stuff virtually. And I think that social media is a natural extension of that. Like it's a very powerful game, basically, because instead of like being a fake in a fake world, it's made with real people in the world, but like in a social structure that you create by yourself, and that's kind of the magic. We always also like it, always like the challenge. Like every time someone told me like, oh, why you're doing a social network, this is like the most difficult thing you can do. I say, oh yes, I'm doing the right stuff. I should keep building. It means like if everybody says, oh, this is difficult, then you should do that, because it means that you're getting your hands dirty where nobody is willing to do that.
Steven, thank you like for all the info that you share with us. If then the followers want to know a little bit more about your story, about Wayful, about what you're building, like maybe where they can like reach out to you.
Definitely follow me on LinkedIn. Like compared to the usual like Silicon Valley founder, I should post more on LinkedIn than on X, but because I think like
the European thing.
Yeah, exactly. One is the European thing, like you get more network in LinkedIn, and also I bring the X vibes on LinkedIn, and I think like
so you have like this arbitrage.
exactly. And yeah, so definitely on LinkedIn, and also on my X, so I can grow on followers and start shit posting also there.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Steven. So keep building.
Thank you, Erick. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank
Let's
you.
keep pushing.